Hey, everybody. Todd Conklin here. Thank you so much for being here. I can't tell you how excited I am about this. I don't even know. I woke up. I barely slept last night just thinking about today. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go through a lot of information in a short period of time. Okay. I hope you got some paper. I hope you got a pen. Jeff's going to be recording this, and so we'll make sure that you all get a recording of this. This is a lot of information. You're going to want to watch it over and over and over again because you're going to have to remember some of the things that we're talking about. But I just want to give you, like, put your mind at ease. We're going to have a Q&A session at the very end of this, but I'm going to talk fast because what we're talking about here is over a decade worth of information that we've reduced into 1 hour. And as you can imagine, that's hard. That's really hard to do. And while we go through this, you're going to have those moments where you're like, oh, I don't know, that's just not me. Y'all, do me a favor. Just stay focused, stay tuned in, connect with me right here, right now, because for every reason you have for the resistance that you'll feel as we go through this, I've been there. I have done it. I get it. I totally understand. And I'm not looking for you to be a mini Todd. What I'm looking for you to do is to avoid Todd mistakes and learn from the things that Jeff and I and the team have done over a decade of time with focused understanding on how do we grow and scale, right? So I'm going to share my screen. Let's do this.
And Todd, just for the record, I'll just keep an eye on the chat and I'll interrupt when I need to.
Okay. Sounds good. Oops, that's not what I wanted. And if you hear clanking in the background, it's because my house is under construction, and here it is. All righty. Okay, so can you everybody see Grow School, the proven process? Jeff, give me a thumbs up. Anybody
Roger
in the
that.
Okay, awesome. Wonderful. Well, hey, again, welcome. So I'm Todd Conklin. I'm the owner of Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties. We are one of the top 2% companies. So like just from a perspective of where we rank, you've got Jeff Renevier, who is one of the world's best in growth and scale. And I don't throw those things around lightly. We are an organization we've won all the awards. We don't do it for the awards, but it is nice to be able to look and say, hey, listen, the things that you're doing, are they working? And what we're here today is not to tell you what to do. What we're here today is to tell you, hey, look, we get it. All right. We understand. Like, we started with two of us in the basement of the house. I get it. I understand what it feels like, the pressure, the stress that goes on you to run an organization, to run an office. I get it. I hear you. We've met with all of the struggles, like the struggles of, well, we have to retain, right? Like, if you can't recruit if you can't retain, and when really we're here for production, and if we can retain people but they don't produce, and that's a problem, and it's all the distractions. And y'all, I hate the saying that all things are solved by recruiting. The problem is that it's true. And what we found is, over the years, that if you master growth, if you master growth through recruiting, attracting, not chasing, attracting the right people, well, it solves all the other problems. See, all of a sudden people are like validated that, hey, I'm at the right organization. All of a sudden there's some competition, and production begins to come up. And now all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, I created a culture because I attracted the right people that leveled everybody up. And now everybody is really firing on all cylinders. And we were able to do that because we experienced all of the pains and struggles that most every single person I've ever worked with has experienced. And then we just got tired of dealing with mediocrity. We got tired of looking around and seeing all these other people growing that frankly, they weren't doing anything. They were just body shops or whatever, right? And well, that wasn't who we were. We had every excuse, but what we decided to do is, you know what? No more excuses. We're just going to solve challenges. We're just going to identify where we're stuck, and we're going to change it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. As I mentioned, I'm going to give you some time at the end for questions, so make sure you're writing those things down. But we want to share with you step by step exactly what we've done. The hope is that you will avoid the pitfalls that we bloodied our knees on. I want you to be able to avoid those. Okay. And I want you to be able to learn from us what worked. The things, y'all, that they changed everything for us. And when I say they changed everything, I mean they changed everything. They changed our confidence level. They changed the culture in our organizations. They changed our retention percentage. They changed our agent production. They changed the lives of our staff, of our agents. They changed our lives. And I want you to feel that, and I want you to experience it, which is probably why I'm super excited that I get to be on this call with you, because our stated goal isn't to sell more homes, isn't to recruit more people, it's to change lives. And today I feel like I get an opportunity to change some lives that maybe we haven't connected that way before, but today's the day. Okay. While I continue, can you all do me a favor in the chat? Can you type your name, type your company, and type the city that you're in? Environments like this one, communities are built. Okay. And so what I would like you to do is I would like you all to start, hey, you're going to look and go, you know what? I have somebody who's in Cabo and I can refer business there. I have somebody in Oklahoma. I can refer somebody there. Build communities here, connect, lift each other up, build rapport, build relationships. This is not about me. This is about you. Send referrals back and forth. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, we recruit probably 1 or 2 agents a quarter that are just referred to us by somebody else in a different place. Somebody's moving. It happens. I want it to happen for you. Okay. So put your name, company, and city in there. Okay. All right. So look, for more than a decade, Jeff and I have had front row seats. Okay. And so that's where this all came from. And I want to make sure that you're really, really clear the impact that today is supposed to have, because if you can master growth in your company, you're unstoppable. There was a time where our growth was about a half of recruit per month. I know you can't recruit a half a person, but what that means is on average, our offices were growing at 1 agent every 2 months. Y'all, it was barely enough to keep up with attrition, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like when people leave, everybody knows, right? That every single, look at your roster right now. Think about everybody that comes to your office. Think about everybody who's got their license with you. Every single one of them will leave you. You know that, right? Some of them are going to get out of the business. We know that 87% of them fail by the statistics. I know that you all are running different offices and you don't have that kind of a failure rate. But that's statistically the number. 87% won't make it. You're going to have some people that are going to move towns. You're going to have some people that are going to, get sick. You're going to have some people that die. We had somebody that died this weekend. They all are going to leave you. Some of them are going to leave you for a shiny object. Like, it just is going to happen. And I know that's a really hard thing to grasp. But the sooner that you get to that place, and the sooner we got to that place, was we went, okay, look, they're all going to leave. We got to stop trying to save ourselves into prosperity. We've got to grow ourselves into prosperity. Okay. And so as we began to look at the numbers and how much of an impact we could have on our offices, we look at revenue as oxygen. The more revenue you have coming into the office, the more oxygen you have, which means you can fly at higher levels, right? Air gets thinner at these higher levels. So you need to have as much of that oxygen as possible. And the real impact of this, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, right? If you were bringing on 6 agents and your average company dollar retained was $15,000, you're talking about a $90,000 a year increase in your revenue. But that gets offset with your attrition. And I know some of you are like, well, I don't have anybody that leaves. Well, it's probably because you're not growing the way you need to grow. The minute you start to grow, you're going to start to have some of that attrition. It's just part of the game, but you're not going to get the whole 90. Okay. So if you will look at it and see where we ended up, So today we're averaging 2.9 onboards per month. We'll look at the math. At $15,000 per person every year, that's $522,000 in increased bottom line revenue for your office. That's every year. It compounds, right? So the skills you'll learn today, if you put them in place today for this next year, you're going to increase it by $520,000, but you're going to do the same things the next year and it's going to go up another 520. Well, that's over $1 million. In the third year, now you're at over 1.5 million. Can I just stop you for 1 minute? I want you to close your eyes and imagine changing your bottom line by $1.5 million. I'm going to tell you what it did for us. We began to walk a little different, walked a little higher, a little taller. We began to talk a little bit different. We were more capable, more free to hold to those standards that we say we have, but sometimes it's really hard. You understand? Right? Sometimes we have those people in our organizations and they don't fit our core values, but we don't want to say anything to them because, well, we're afraid, right? Think about how it would feel if you added $1.5 million to your net income. We grew faster, we grew stronger, we had this momentum. It will change your lives for sure. But here's the thing. It changed a bunch of agents' lives. It changed a bunch of staff's lives. It was massive. And that's what we're talking about today. So how did we do it? Well, God bless Jeff because he's organized. He put together what he calls the proven process. And this is it. Here's what's wonderful. So anytime you go to do something, oftentimes what happened, well, for me, oftentimes what would happen is I would go out and I would say, okay, I'm going to solve this problem. Here we go. This is how we're going to do it. And I would have it all up here. Here's the thing about that. If you're going to do something, make sure you write it out. Write it out as if you were going to teach somebody. If you will do it that way, you'll be able to make sure that it's followed. Okay. I can teach somebody and I can make sure it's followed. Maybe I'm teaching me and I'm making sure that I'm following it. But whatever it is, you have to have it written out very clearly. This is ours. And I'm going to walk you through it in just 1 second. The other purpose behind this is once you have this written out, it's something that you can track, you can measure, and you can hold people accountable to. And that's really, really important because even as good as we think we are today compared to what we were several years ago, we still struggle. We still struggle doing the work. We still struggle being accountable to it. It's kind of a fact of life. I think it's a strange thing that we try to reach back into comfort, that working at the highest level to be a 1%er, you got to do what 99% of the people aren't willing to do. That's what this is all about. Okay. So let's walk through this. The proven process. Number one, you got to have a list. Okay. Number two, you've got to engage with that list. Then you've got to nurture that list. Just to connect with the list doesn't do anything. They don't know you. But now you got to nurture that list. Then you got to schedule an appointment. And there's a certain way that you will handle that appointment. And then, of course, you've got to make the determination as to whether or not they're a fit or not. If they're not a fit, that's okay. Move them along, right? So once they are a fit, now they become a real candidate. And you've got to solve some problems and you've got to present to those problems in appointment 2. And if on appointment 2, they're ready and you've solved the right problems in the right way, then they will close and they will onboard. If on the other hand, you didn't solve the right problems in the right way and they tell you no, well, then they go back into the nurture, back into the interview, back into the presentation. So this is the proven process. You all can take a picture of this, but as I said, we're going to send you the recording so that you can have an opportunity to see it again, right? So when we talk about the proven process, listen, in our organization, what we found is, it used to be that we would start at the beginning and we would map it out to the end. What we found is that was really hard. It was fun. We got very inspired and excited, but motivation doesn't work. Inspiration works. So how do you create inspiration instead of motivation? Well, you start with the end. You hear people talk about different things, right? It's the why, it's the end game, whatever it is for you. I'm going to use starting with the end in mind. Okay. Now, I would encourage you to tie it to what the end gets you, or gets your purpose, or gets your calling, or gets your community, or gets your company, whatever it is that's your driving force. But if we'll start with the end game in mind, it gives us the ability to reverse engineer it. And Jeff's very, very good at doing the math. And so much that we've coined it for him, right? But I keep messing it up. So the way I'll explain it here is that the path will always be revealed in the math. If you understand the math, the path will be shown. And that's the reverse engineering. And so I'm going to ask you to make sure you get that piece of paper out right now, get your calculators out right now, because we're going to do some of that math. I'll give you just a second to get ready. Give me a minute to grab some water. So I want to talk about the rest of the year. Not a lot left. But we are in a critical time of year. This is moving season right now. This is it right here, right now. Right this minute, your agents are being called by other recruiters, and they are trying to schedule appointments with them. Right this minute, other companies are calling agents around your market, trying to recruit them. If we're being really honest, most of your agents had a rough go this year. So they're kind of easy pickings, unless you too are doing the same thing and providing validation by recruiting great talent into your organization, great people into your organization, as a validation for the agents that have already chosen you, that they are in the right place. Okay. So I want to focus on the rest of this year. And if you had to say, hey, in my office, I want to attract X number of people to my organization, let's just take the next 70 days. Can we agree that based on our experience and our success, that the average would be about 2.9 per month, which would give you, let's call it 6 over the next 70 days? Great. So that becomes our goal. That's the end. The end is 6 people. Well, the next step to this then is, well, again, we're following the proven process. We're just going backwards. Well, how many offers or presentations do we need to make in order to bring on 6 people? You're like, well, I don't know what my closing ratio is. Well, you should probably think about that. We're going to solve this for you at the end, right? Because I'm going to show you how Jeff and the team are doing this so that they know exactly what the ratios are. But as we sit right now, I'm going to throw at you a little bit of sort of industry standards. I'm also going to sprinkle a little bit of our standards. It really depends on a couple of things. Number one, many people just call them a low-hanging fruit, and low-hanging fruit, they close at a higher percentage. Also, as leaders, as talent attractors, as presenters, as salespeople, as sales warriors, we have different degrees of skills. And so depending on your skill set will dictate what your closing percentage is. But for the case of this, I'm going to use 50% of the people that you actually present to. This is a second appointment. You're actually going to gain agreement. That's 12 presentations then. Well, how many appointments then do I need to attend in order to get 12 presentations? Well, industry standard wise, believe it or not, there is a 50% cancellation or reschedule rate. I'm going to show you some ways to make that better for you, but that's just an industry number, so we're going to go with it. So in order to make 12 presentations, that means I'm going to have to go on 24 appointments, but because I have a 50% cancellation rate, how many appointments do I need to schedule? That's 48. So I have to schedule 48 appointments. That means I'll attend 24 appointments, which means I'll make presentations for people to join my organization 12 times, and I will onboard 6 agents. Okay, we following so far? All right. Well, how many connections do I need to make in order to make 48 appointments, to schedule 48 appointments? Well, the data shows that you're going to have to make 98 connections to schedule 48 appointments. So I've done the math for you. So hopefully your math checks out with my math. Let's work through this, because effectively what we're talking about is we have 9 weeks left of the quarter times 5 days. That's 45 work days. I know that there's some holidays and some exceptions in there, but we're just going to make it easy math, 45 days. So that means that each day we need to make 2.2 connections in order to get to our end game. Well, we can't do fractions, so we're going to do 3. Can everybody do 3 connections a day? Of course we can, right? So what that means then is that we have to schedule 5.4 appointments in order to get to our end goal. Well, we don't do fractions, so that means we got to do 6. So we're going to schedule 6 appointments every single week, and we're going to attend 3 appointments every week, and we're going to make 2 presentations every single week. And that's going to get us to the numbers. In the chat, please, thumbs up, raise your hand, whichever. Can you make 3 connections every day to agents in your area, people that might want to become agents? Can you connect with 3 agents every single day? We all can, can't we? We can all go on 5 appointments or schedule 5 appointments, go on 3 appointments. This is light work if you look at it from a math perspective. And that's why what Jeff does is so powerful. So now that we know the path and we know the math to get us through the path, we have to figure out how to call. And this is an area that I'm gonna shed some light on some mistakes. Okay, we struggled, man. What happens oftentimes is we go directly to the MLS, right? We take the list of the agents that are current agents, we go straight to the top, and we just start calling the top. Can we be honest for a second? There's an 80-20 rule. It's probably a 90-10 rule. But effectively what the rule says is that 80% of the business is done by 20% of the agents. If we're being really honest, your level of impact, depending on your skill set as a coach, as a leader, as a transformative leader, when you talk about the top 10 or 20% of the agents, you likely don't have the skills, the confidence, the authority, or the influence to be able to impact those people's lives and businesses. And so what happens is you go after them, and the only thing you have to trade is money. And we were guilty of that. We went after the big fish thinking, oh, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. And truthfully, what we should have done is we should have focused on the 80. We should have looked at the 80% that were only doing 20% of the business and had a massive impact on their lives, had a massive impact through our influence, through our authority, through our capabilities and our experiences, through our organizations, through the support, all of the things that make you special and value. That's what we should have done. That's what we teach now. Focus on the 80% that are only doing 20% of the business and elevate them into the 20%. And that's a loyalty. That's a success. You will walk and talk differently. The confidence that you will have as a result of changing somebody's life like that will be forever different, right? Now, how do you do that? Well, we teach agents 5 to thrive. Well, what is 5 to thrive? Well, 5 to thrive is, hey, here are the 5 things you need to be doing. Here are the 5 buckets that you need to be serving in order to build a great career. Not a job, not a business this year, not one that goes like this, but a business that day in, day out provides for the company, for the family, for the person, et cetera. And so we teach this 5 to thrive. So number 1 is local agents. Yes, that would be like teaching an agent past client sphere of influence, right? These are people that are already part of your local MLS. Likely you know many of them, or at least the people that are, depending on the size of your market, at least in your immediate market, okay? So local agents. Number 2 are events. When we're talking to agents, that's open houses, but we're talking about events as leaders, as talent attractors. We're talking about open houses. We're talking about trainings. We're talking about networking opportunities. Number 3 is referrals. And when we talk about referrals, we're talking about agent referring agents. We're talking about mortgage companies and title companies. I always get stuck a little bit here. You know that the mortgage companies and the title companies rely on us driving business to them, right? So if they rely on us and we're giving them business, do you think they would have a problem returning the favor? Oftentimes what happened is nobody asked. Nobody asked them, but y'all, they know which agents are happy and which agents are unhappy. They know whose business is up or down. So number 4 is funnels. this is building social influence. This is giveaways. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. And then the last one is online, will be ads, Google, YouTube, social media, but paid advertising. Okay. So that's us building the list. Now we got to build a list that we can call every single month, right? As I showed you there, if you want to recruit 2.9 agents, you need to connect with 3 people per day. Again, pretty light work. So once you have the list, it's time to now start nurturing that list. And the saying is, you build the list, then you got to serve the list, and we got to grow it with value, and we've got to feed it, and we got to water it. Yo, the low-hanging fruit, go to a fruit tree, and the stuff that you can grab, well, the pristine fruit is higher. Okay. It's going to take some effort for you to get to. And people rarely just meet you and fall in love with you and say, yep, I'm going to change my entire career and join you. It's just not really how it works. Anyway, we call it commission breath, where somebody makes a phone call and they're like, Jeff, it's Todd, you got to be here. You got to be here. You got to be here. It's like commission breath. Right. All they're doing is sell, 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 sell. They forgot they want to trust you. They need to trust you. Right. I get the likability, and I understand that everybody's talking about know, like, and trust. If they don't know you, it's a moot point. You're never going to get an at bat, right? That's why we build a list and we connect with the list. That's the introduction. But then the nurture becomes where you build likability and trust. But if you had to choose between the two, you want to build trust, because just liking you is not enough. I'm sure that I would like you. Hell, I might love you, but I'm not going to hook my entire life and my kids' lives and my wives' lives to you unless I trust that you are the man or woman for the job. And this is where I get an opportunity to prove that. What it means is contribution. It means that you've got to approach all of these opportunities to feed and water by giving them something that's going to help them to have a better life. Okay. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what that is. I kind of get fired up about this one, so I'll apologize in advance. But have you ever wondered why there are these companies that are out there that are coaching and recruiting our agents, and they're doing it without ever having actually sold a house, done an open house, represented a buyer, a seller, ever run their own real estate organization, mortgage organization? Have you ever noticed that? Does that strike you as odd? How is it that they're able to do that? How are some of these organizations that are just trying to get a body into their business so that they can go back to Wall Street and talk to them about the blue sky associated with their IPO? And listen, maybe that's one of you on the call. I have no idea, but if it is, this is probably not your group. If you are like me, where you're like, man, I don't get it. I have no idea how somebody, an agent, like, first of all, I think it's a charlatan. I think it's fraud for me to try to tell you how to do something that I've never done. I'm telling you, I'm not showing you. Well, you are trusting in me to have the right answers and to show you the right things. Man, if I make a mistake, I'm going to lose sleep over that. So that's why we don't tell what we haven't done. We show you exactly what we've done. And that's having the authority. But the reason that you might be getting your booty kicked by those people who don't have authority, they don't have the experience, wisdom, et cetera, is because they tricked you. See, they built influence. They built fame. And we have to get really clear on the fact that we are leaders in the trenches every single day. Many of us here are very accomplished salespeople. In fact, what I find is many leaders of organizations started first by being great leaders in sales. And they thought, you know what? I want more. I want to have a better impact. I want to change lives. And if that's you, then you align with my heart and my purpose and my passion, and you're on the right call. All right. So now what we've got to do is we've got to help you marry these two things of influence and authority. And once you do that, now you're a sales warrior. And you'll understand what that means as we go on. But once you're a sales warrior, you're unstoppable. Like nobody's getting in your way. No economy's getting in your way. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter what inflation is. It doesn't matter what interest rates are. It doesn't matter who's got the new shiny penny. NAR settlement stuff doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters because you're a sales warrior. You understand I'm going to help people solve their problems with the influence and authority that I have developed. And so how do you do that? How do you build influence with your authority? You're going to want to write these things down. So get that paper and pen ready again. All right, number one, you ready? Sorry, not sorry. You got to be on YouTube. Got to be on YouTube. When somebody is looking and they search, if somebody wants to get into real estate, they're going to go online. Even if they're in real estate, they're going to go online. They're going to start their search online. We know this. The National Association of Realtors tells us every year, 93% of all home buyers and sellers start their search online. Agents are no different. They're consumers. That's not a specific real estate stat. That's really a consumer stat. And agents are consumers just like everybody else. And so when somebody searches for how to become a real estate agent in your town, who comes up? You may not like the answer when you do that. If somebody goes online and they're looking for education, and they often do, right? YouTube is the how to present to sellers. Does your name come up? Are you showing up as an influential authority in the spaces that your potential customers are looking? You got to be able to share what it is that you're teaching. We're doing it all day, every day anyway. Here's what I can assure you. 98%, this is a data point, 98% of leaders of offices are not training their agents because they're too busy competing. See, they're too busy managing retention, managing quote unquote production, but much of that production is theirs. They're not driving recruiting. They're not increasing the individual agent production by teaching. That's not part of their game. And so you have an opportunity, low-hanging fruit, to be doing that on a much bigger level on YouTube. And if you don't know how to do that, you can go to YouTube and do a how-to. You can also search the Distinctive Agent Show, where we have training specifically in our 13% Club, where we're teaching agents how to do it. And y'all, this is not about me. This is about you. So take whatever it is that we're teaching and teach it. We're all asking our agents to get better and learn and make sure that they're learning each and every day. Are you doing what you're asking people to do, or are you telling them to do something that you're not willing to do yourself? Honest question. I don't mean it to be hard hitting, maybe a little bit, but you got to ask the question and answer it yourself. Number two is co-op calls. I love co-op calls. So when somebody in your office puts a transaction under contract with somebody in another office, another agent, you have 3 opportunities now to build a connection, build rapport, and warm that person up to potentially meeting with you for your first appointment. Well, how does that look? Well, your first call, it's pretty simple. Like, hey, listen, I know you put a deal under contract with Jeff. He's an amazing agent. I'm sure you're not going to need anything. You guys are going to do really well together. I can't wait. But I just wanted you to know, like, of course, I'm here for Jeff, but I'm also here for you. So if you need anything at all, let me know. But hey, good job. Congratulations on the first step. Pretty simple. Can we all do that? 100%. That's not selling. That's adding value. So what's the second call? Well, the second call is, hey, you're almost there. Here we go. Great work. How's everything going? How's the experience been so far? Can I do anything? Hey, I'll check back at closing, but again, great work. If you need anything at all, please let me know. And then of course, there's a third call, the last call, which is congratulations. Great job. It's wonderful to get paid here. By the way, I was talking to Jeff and he said you were amazing to deal with, that you handled the inspection contingency release like an absolute pro. And I just wondered if maybe you and I could get together for a coffee. I'd love to meet you in person. And I don't know, maybe we could talk a little bit about your business and see where it goes from there. See, I've already made some deposits. I've already done some check-ins. It's super easy. And I'm building influence on my authority. See, I impressed my authority by calling as the leader of Jeff's office and caring enough to have a conversation and offer my assistance. I guarantee you their manager is not doing that. All right, number 3, call and text videos. Call and text videos. Calls are better, okay? Calls are better. And I get it. Sometimes calls, I've made my calls, I've called them 3 times in the last 2 months. It's time for something different. Or maybe I'm just having a particular busy day. I never, ever, ever skip my 3 connections ever. So we would do video, but we're going to do a personal video. Here's the trick. Everybody on your hit list has to be contacted every month. That's what we teach. We teach our agents that, right? Are we walking the walk? Number 4, send 2 emails every single week. Only value though. Only value. We're giving something away. We're giving it away. We're giving it away. The giveaway though is with a reply. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So what I do is I have a notes app on my phone, and as an agent asks me a question or tells me something that I think is clever, I write it down on my deal. And then once a week, I sit down and I will look at those and I will craft 2 emails, 2 that I think would be valuable to other agents in my community or outside my community. I've got several thousand people that I'm emailing to. But that's how I'm building that. And I might have a one sheet. It may be like, on a preferred vendor list, or it may be, here are the 7 things that are key to answering questions about commissions or whatever, right? And maybe I have a one sheet that I've also created, and I would just say, I would write my email, I would provide my value. If you're interested in having my one sheet, just reply to this. I'm happy to send it to you. What you're doing is you're getting people to activate. Okay. Anytime you get somebody to activate, now they're engaged in your community and you have the opportunity to build rapport. It's a really simple thing. And all day, every day, you can write 2 emails. Just saying. And number 5 on my list is monthly events. I would encourage you to have a partner. There's plenty of mortgage companies and title companies in your marketplace, home warranty companies, inspection companies, you name it, that would love an audience with agents. So host some events. Hell, you can have Jeff or I teach, frankly, right? We could do a Zoom event. It doesn't need to be live, or you can teach it, or you can have a mortgage person come in and teach something about mortgage or whatever. But this is like a little lunch and learn. You don't even, not even a lot of money. Like it can literally be, come and buy your own lunch. You'll just host it at a local establishment. Don't make this too much. Okay. It's an opportunity for people to get together, your agents and those people on your hit list. You're bringing them together. Some states love and some towns love CE credit. If that's your space, great. But that's not what this is about. Okay. And then once a quarter, I would host a co-op cocktail reception. And that's just where you take everybody who represented somebody else on the other side and you invite them to a cocktail receptions. Again, it can be sponsored if you'd like, or it could just be like, hey, come by our office. I love giveaways and that kind of stuff on those, but you're hosting a little get together. And very little business. It's just like getting to know people. Okay. Notice I haven't asked for anything, right? Number 6 is execute on social media. You got to have a strategy and you've got to do it. And I know there's all kinds of excuses and I made them and everybody I know has made them. So you're not alone if you're living in that space. But again, just connect with me right now and just go with it. Okay. Just go with it. You got to post once every single day. I just shared with you your note strategy to figure out how you're going to craft your email. By the way, same thing. You just take one of the questions that the agent asks, you shoot a quick little video. Hey, everybody. So I was talking to this agent today and they were asking me, like what's changed in the listing presentation? What specific things should I be talking about on the listing presentation? And here was my answer. What do you think? Comment below. Okay. And then you just give the answer. Right. If you will just do the one thing where you're asking people to comment or DM below, you're going to have massive impact. It's going to take time. It's going to take commitment, but one a day, no excuses, do it anyway. There are a bunch more than these, but here were 6 of sort of the standards. So if you will do those, I guarantee you, like I don't guarantee, but I guarantee. If you'll do those 6 things, you'll actually execute on those 6 things. I guarantee you'll change your recruiting. Do you know your value? Do you know your value? Do you know who you are? Listen, you're in the position that you're in because either you thought you were special or somebody thought you were special and they tapped you as the person to be the leader of men and women. Like this is their lives. This is a big deal. And if you knew the value that you brought to the table, you wouldn't be selling the way you're selling, likely. Okay. Don't we teach agents all day, every day? Hey, you got to defend your commission rates. Got to defend them. You got to defend them. Are you defending your rates the minute you are executing on the plan that we just talked about? The minute you're executing on the proven process, your value, you're going to know your value. You're going to walk different. You're going to talk different. You're going to have the confidence that you need. You're going to have the swagger that you need. It's just different. There's just something about being a man or woman of your word where things change. You do the work, you do the thing that you said you were going to do, and you just feel like a beast. Conversely, if you say you're going to do something, you don't do it, it makes you feel like crap. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling beaten up a little bit, if you're feeling bruised and battered, we teach extreme ownership here. I know that's not a super popular thing, but listen, under the context of extreme ownership, you just look at you. There's an area where I'm not showing up properly. I'm not aligned properly. And maybe this is it. Maybe this is it for you. But here's what I need. I need you to start thinking differently. You are a pro. You are special. If you don't think you're special, somebody thinks you're special. You have the position that you have because you are special. You have the authority. You're about to have the influence. You have done all of this before. You are teaching what has worked. That's you. Let those people that are saying, do as I say, not as I do, let them sell on price. Okay. You have the authority. You have the influence. It's time for you to sell on value, real value. And where does the value come from? Well, can I ask you a question? If you got to work with a team that cared about you, that knew the names of your kids, that cared about your family, like one that could literally help you live a better life, better than maybe even you imagined, one that was committed to changing the legacy, not only your legacy, but maybe even your family's legacy, or contributing to your community, or doing something to make sure that whatever your passion was, it aligned. Would it mean something to you? Like, would that mean something to you? Because that's us. Everybody else talks about money. Money is not the answer. It never has been the answer, although it is the answer if you don't have value, if you don't have worth, if you don't have confidence. We end up selling to price and splits, and that's not it. Building a business and a life that is out of this world better than I thought. That's the answer. And when you have that self-worth and you have that confidence, you can talk to people differently. Because y'all, you and I all day long, we would gladly pay more for the right solution than pay less for the wrong one, wouldn't we? Think about that for a second. All day long, I'll pay more for the right solution than pay less for the wrong one. I don't want to pay less for the wrong solution. I want the right solution. I may want the right solution for less money, but that's not the same as selling to price. You get to make a determination. You either are or you aren't. If you are just a body shop, all you're looking to do is get more bodies in, you're going to sell to price. If you're not, you're going to sell to value because you care about people and you're going to have an impact that nobody else is even really talking about. So I gave you a bunch of things. I'd be a dodo bird if I didn't talk about schedule, because this is one of the big things that we all struggled with. Schedule, overwhelm, chaos. So take a picture of the schedule. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we teach it to agents. We teach it to leaders. If we're being super honest, some people do it and some people don't. But here's what I will tell you. The ones that do win, and the ones that don't, they struggle. It's not that they don't win, they struggle. And you know the difference. There's a difference of the people that are like, hey, listen, I got my proverbial ducks in a row. I'm crushing it. I got a smile on my face. Every challenge is an opportunity. Things are happening for me, not to me. Like, this is good stuff. Likely they're just so organized and they live to a schedule that creates peace and harmony and flow for their life and business. This is it right here. All right, so I said I was going to show you ways for you to increase the show rate and decrease the reschedule or cancellation rate. And this is, I'll talk quickly through this. There's really not a lot of magic here, although the magic is just in the execution. And sometimes the smallest of things have the biggest impact. What I would tell you is I would probably work on Well, three things. I know there's two here, but number one, I would build a playlist, a YouTube playlist. Don't overthink this. Just build a YouTube playlist that shares about you, that shares about your office, that shares about your team, that shares about your culture, that shares about your core values. Maybe it's some things that you're teaching, whatever's important to you, okay? Whatever defines you. And maybe this is one or three or 10 video playlist that you send to the person that you just scheduled the appointment with. So you scheduled the appointment, I send this playlist. Now they get an opportunity to get something from you in advance. They get an opportunity to hear you talk and learn from you and maybe get a little excited. And excuse me, now it's not just, oh, I scheduled an appointment with this person, right? Now there's this law of reciprocity that begins to kick in. Wow, they gave me something. Okay. The second one would be coffee. So if you're going to meet people for a coffee, this is a super easy one. Just send them a text message. Hey, I'm going to be there early. What's your favorite coffee? I'll order it for you. I'm anchoring people to having to show up, because certainly if I'm going to give you my order for coffee, I'm going to show up, right? Like that would be really bad. If you're a book person, maybe you like giving people a book, maybe you're like The Compound Effect or whatever your book is, right? An easy one. Raving fans, don't overthink this. It doesn't need to be, Atlas Shrugged, but it just a real simple, feel good, inexpensive, soup for the soul, that kind of thing book. Text them a photo of the book. Hey, I got this for you. Can't wait to see you. Again, what you're doing is you're stacking on top this law of reciprocity, that I'm doing things for you, so the least you can do for me is to show up. Okay. I want to talk about the appointment. I know I'm running out of time, but I want to talk about the appointment. And here's the thing. Don't be a data dumper. Okay. Don't be that person. Listen, people want to be heard. They want you asking questions, not dumping. Like, that time, and we've all done it. Are you that person where you go into that meeting and you're talking to them and you're like, well, let me tell you all about my organization. Let me tell you about me. Let me tell you about my blah, 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 blah. That's not what we're there for. Your first appointment is very, very clearly just an information gathering appointment and an opportunity to build some rapport. You can do it in 15 minutes or less if you need to. What you're really trying to check the box of, do I even like this person? Would this person contribute at all to my culture, to my organization? Number one. And number two, if they came to my organization, can I help change their lives? That's it. Really simple, but you have to do a lot more listening, right? Ask questions, find places where you can provide value. You're literally peeling the onion back, right? And you might be asking, well, how do you do that? Well, we're giving you all of our questions here. Again, take a picture of these questions. You're not going to sit there and rattle these off, but if you're really good at what you do, these are all things that matter, right? Hey, Jeff, can I ask you a question? Are you one of those people that do an annual business plan? Well, what did it say? Oh, you didn't do that. Oh, that's interesting. All right. Well, what were you hoping to accomplish this year? Did you do it? You didn't do it. All right. Well, were you able to identify any of the challenges? Oh, that's great. Well, how would you solve those challenges? And, like, you're asking regular questions. We're just giving you a bit of a framework here, but I would encourage you to write these things down in handwriting on a yellow pad that you take, right? We all know that an interview is done without your phone. You're not taking notes on your phone. Okay, good talk. All right. Everybody got a photo of that? These are your interview questions. If you ask these questions, you will come out with exactly what you needed to solve the problem that they have, or problems that they have, which leads us to the presentation. And that's what we're doing, is just simply presenting solutions to problems that we identified. That's it, right? And there are scripts and there are dialogues around every single one of these steps. From the moment we make connection, to the nurture, to the appointment scheduling, to the appointment having, to the appointment scheduling for the presentation, to the presentation, to the closing, et cetera. It's all there, but it's all a script and dialogue, and it's got to be trained. You got to practice and train and train and practice, just like we teach our agents, okay? But the presentation is not the close. And I get it. Everybody wants to close. Oh, got to be a closer. It's not it. We've done the interview. We identified the challenges, and now we get to solve them. Now we're presenting these solutions. There's some very critical steps that have to be followed, because you've got to gain buy-in from everybody as you go through, right? And when I say buy-in, I don't mean like, oh, do you see how this could help your business? 100%. Yes. How much time would this solution give you? Maybe time was their problem. Maybe they wanted to spend more time with little Johnny or little Janie's sports teams or whatever. Like, what would you do with that time? What would the impact of doing that with your family be? Y'all, we're in life together. This is not real estate sales. We're in life together. We're all here to have great marriages and to raise great young men and women. Like, nothing gets in the way of that. In fact, my job, my business is meant so that I can do more of that, not less of that. So as we're going through our questions, you'll notice many of those talked about life. What would that time do for you and your family? What would it do for your business? If you had that extra time and you were going to allocate that to business, how many more transactions would you be able to do as a result of that? How long are you going to be in business? Let's do the math to determine how much money we're really talking about here, how much time we're really talking about here. See how I've peeled back the onion until I've gotten to the place where I can say, gosh, what we just did is we just added $30,000 a year to your income, but you said you're going to be in the business for another 10 years. So really it's $300,000. It's a big decision. It's a decision that's going to impact what would you do with an extra $300,000? Is that a retirement condo in the mountains? Like what is that for you? Right? Is that sending somebody to college, like the best college? You see what I'm saying here? Like solving problems and gaining buy-in. If you do it properly, you never need to close. And this is probably inappropriate, but I'm playing it anyway. Can you all hear that? Yowza. Can you hear that when I'm sharing that? Can you hear the audio?
It was a little low.
Okay. So that means I didn't share properly. All right. Let me go back. Hopefully most of you know that iconic movie and that clip where he's saying, hey, put the coffee down. Coffee's for closers. And while I think it's funny and cute and all the things, it's one of the reasons that we as salespeople get a bad name. And truthfully, that's what we are as leaders. We're just the best salespeople. We're the best sales warriors there are. And what we're doing is we're selling things that are even bigger and more important than a house or a car or a mortgage or a title policy. Like we're talking about lives here. And if we sell properly, we will never, ever, ever feel like we're closing. Now, that being said, we've all experienced where we've solved the biggest problems, we've shown the best solutions, we've anchored them properly, we've shown them the impact, and some people are just wired to push back, and we've all experienced that. But here's what I would tell you: don't take the bait. Okay, it's just an invitation. That's all they're doing, is saying, hey, look, it's an invitation for you to help me make a decision that's best for me. What I find is oftentimes you'll have those people that don't ask any questions and they ghost you. You know what I'm talking about? All of a sudden they're gone. So we don't want that. So let's change our mind around when people are asking us questions like, yeah, baby, let's go. But you got to know what to say and you got to know how to say it and you got to know when to say it. And if you don't know those things, well, you're not a sales warrior, in which case they probably shouldn't be coming to work for you and expecting that you're going to help them become sales warriors and have great success in sales if you haven't mastered it yet. Follow what I'm saying? Okay. So you got to know the skills. The other thing is you got to approach this with some passion and some confidence. Like think about it this way. If somebody was on the railroad tracks and you looked down and you saw there was a train coming, would you accept them saying, yeah, maybe I'll get up off the train? No, you wouldn't. You'd be jumping up and down. You'd be saying, oh my gosh, Jeff, get off the tracks, man. Some of us have got to get after it in a different passion, a different level. And hopefully by becoming a sales warrior, hopefully by being part of our organization, or not our organization, but in this community, hopefully by leveling yourself up and being around other great leaders like the people that took their time to be on this call, that will have that impact for you so that you can see yourself as a life changer, right? And you are a life changer. All right. So when you sold them on being part of your organization and they bought what you were selling, which were the solutions, now it's time to get them onboarded. There is a difference between onboarding and training. We're going to talk about that here in a second, but onboarding is getting them transitioned from where they came from to where they are now. If you do an exceptional job of onboarding and you do it with excitement and with passion and with confidence and with professionalism, and you completely and totally knock their socks off, well, something magical happens. They tell everybody. They tell all their friends. They're like, I can't believe I wasn't over here 5 years ago. I can't believe that I didn't know what I didn't know. I can't believe that I thought that place was the same as this place. This place is incredible. I'm the greatest of all time right here. But you got to be able to do it right. And so I'm just showing, I'm going to scan through this, but here's our onboard list. This is our checklist. Copy away, baby. Take a photo. Here's page 2. Take a photo.
We can't
Here's
see your
page
screen.
3. Huh?
We can't see your screen.
Come on.
Got it.
Okay. Here is the onboard checklist. Take a photo of that. That's page 1 of the list. That's page 2. Page 3 coming right now. That's onboarding. But that's just getting them transitioned. See, then we have this obligation to get them actually launched in their careers. And just because I'm talking about launch doesn't mean that I'm talking about like, hey, you got to be new to the business. It could be somebody who has been in the business 3, 4, 5 years. They just have had a failure to launch. Look, y'all, the average real estate professional in the US does somewhere between 4 and 5 transactions. That's a last year's number. I think this number is going to be under 4. And we all look at it, more than 50% of the agents haven't done a transaction. And yet our focus is going to be on that 80-20. That means a lot of those people are going to have had a failure to launch. That's where we're going to have the greatest impact. I've included this QR code where one of our guys is teaching a launch class. And it's not sexy, but it's effective. And what we know is if our people follow this class, they're in production within 90 days. And oftentimes it's the first production they've ever seen in their careers. But it's time, right? It's time for us as leaders to teach and hold accountable to those people who we have agreed together that, hey, we're going to teach, we're going to train, you're going to do the work. That's the game. We're going to change your life. And y'all, most people, number one, their leaders have not even asked them the right questions. But let's just imagine for a minute that they did. That's the lip service. The hard part is actually teaching them the skills necessary to do it. The really, really hard part is holding them accountable to do the work. And if you'll launch their career, and trust me, y'all, everybody's watching. But if you'll launch their career, you now have people that are watching that are going to be calling you. You also have people that can use you as a case study, right? To be able to show people, hey, look, don't take my word for it. Let me show you what we did with Jeff. Just as a side note, that's what Sales Warrior certified coaching is all about. In February, we're doing our next Sales Warrior certified coaching program. It's a 2-day program. You leave there as a certified coach and trainer of sales warriors. You'll know exactly what to do, how to do it, what structure, what questions, how to put the perfect business plan together, how to identify the skills that they need, how to track, how to measure, how to hold people accountable. It's exactly what those people that maybe don't have the confidence in teaching, training, and coaching and holding accountable would need. So you should be part of that, right? By the way, how many of you, just a show of hands, how many of you have agents in your organization right now that are coaching with people outside of your organization? Very, very dangerous. Dangerous. Because honestly, if I walked in to your organizations and I said, hey, on a piece of paper, don't need anybody to see it, anonymous, write down who has the most influence, who's the most influential person in your business. If it's not your name, you have a problem. Let that one sink in for a minute. How do I know? Because we've been there. We've done it. We know. These coaches outside your organization don't have any loyalty or alignment to you. They're being paid by the agent. And like, if that person is at another brokerage, another brand, like they have an affiliation and an alignment with that brokerage. They do, and they will influence your people to go there. So the alternative is you become the person that has the most authority and therefore has the most influence with your agents. You become the best coach, the best trainer, but you're going to have to do some things to level up your skills to do that. But again, we talk about it all the time, right? Like, what are you doing to grow? Where are you investing in you? Because if you're not investing in you, y'all, what's the saying? If your Starbucks bill is more than your education bill, don't be complaining about your income statement, right? I mean, come on. All right. Sorry. All right. So here's a scoreboard. Every pro knows, got to have a scoreboard. It's all about the scoreboard. The scoreboard tells you everything you ever needed to know. So you can take a picture of this, but we're going to go through it real quick. Who's the leader? John. How many hours of power? This is how many hours of prospecting did John do? 11. How many calls were made? 95. How many connections were made? 61. Two-way text, 26. Appointments scheduled, 37. 17 attended, and he onboarded one person. And then you can see what Jeff did here is he put together all of the ratios. And the spreadsheet literally tells you everything you needed to know. Oh, it's an 11-to-1. 11 hours equals one on board. 17 appointments equals one on board. Goal is one, year to date, et cetera. So this is your scoreboard so that you know exactly where you're at and where you're going. Okay. For those of you that have attended our Growth School Masterclass, you know you get this as part of, we build this out for you as part of the masterclass. And we have 6 weeks together where we're digging in and we're doing the work and we're working through, all right, well, here's what the data is telling us. Here's the skill set that needs a little bit of love, et cetera. Okay. So now using this data is where we get to assess, adjust, edit, and elevate. We assess our results. Okay. We put in the work. Yes or no? Yes. Did we get the outcomes? No. All right. We got to adjust. We've got to adjust our actions. We've got to edit our skills. We got to eliminate the things that aren't working. We got to edit some distractions. We've got to elevate our skill set and confidence level in getting a different outcome. So you got to use this to help us with this, right? But the data does not lie. The data tells you everything you ever needed to know, okay? Y'all, we all start somewhere. You're not going to start as a talent attraction animal. You're going to start. We crawled, then we walked, then we ran, and we climbed and jumped and did all of the things. What I will tell you is that in a 6-week period of time, the average leader in Growth School Masterclass had onboarded over 2.5 agents. Okay. Over 2.5 agents average just in a 6-week period of time. So it happens very, very quickly if you know what you're looking for and you have a proven process. So here's your proven process. Again, we talked about this before. You got to be learning. I'm encouraging you all, get engaged. Please get engaged. You know, anything that we can do, whether it be the 13% club or launch or the $500,000 masterclass or the boardroom, we do one-on-one coaching, Growth School Masterclass. These are all ways that you can be learning. And we're different in that we're not asking you to be us and we're not asking you to put us in front of your people. What we're asking for is an opportunity to teach you exactly what we're doing. And then you take what we've been doing and you go be the expert in your marketplace, in your office. We want you to be the hero. We want you to be the influencer. We want you to be the authority. Well, I just kind of talked about this, so I'm going to kind of skip over this. But we all know you can't give what you don't have. And so if you're feeling a bit like a fraud, if you have a little bit of that imposter syndrome, which we've all experienced at some point in our careers, what I would tell you is get around other people, get in rooms with me, get in rooms with Jeff, get in rooms with other sales warriors and other coaches, because I'm telling you right now, the more you get surrounded by people that are doing these kinds of things and having success, and they can shine a light on your talents, your God-given talents, and show you some of the areas where you can level up, and you begin to level up those areas, and you have a proven process, you know for a fact that it works, and you're doing the work on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, and you start to see the success from that. I'm telling you, your world will change forever. And that's the whole point. If your world changed, if your life changed, now guess what? You can give that to somebody else. That's the whole point, right? Listen, I've shown you all exactly what it is that our team has done to break all of our records. And I'm telling you right now, every single one of those leaders in our organization that have followed this and those people that have gone through the masterclass before, this has changed their entire businesses. We went through the math. If you could add $500,000 a year, compounded every single year, if 3 years from now, a class that you went to for 6 weeks added $1.5 million to your income, can you imagine? Versus saying, you know what, I think I'll wait. Like, I'll wait a year. Somebody else does it. They're already $500,000 ahead of you. Think about that for a second. How long do you plan on being in business? Do the math. $500,000 a month. What you do this next year, if you're going to be in the business for 10 years, is actually worth $5 million to you. That's not compounded. I mean, it could be tens of millions of dollars for you, but it all comes down to your willingness to get in the trenches and learn from others that have made the mistakes, that are teaching you exactly what they're doing, to have unprecedented success. And that's what Grow School Masterclass is all about. This QR code right here will take you exactly to where you need to go to register for this class. It starts on November 4th. We put you in small groups. We do the heavy lifting with you. We build your list with you. We work together on talk tracks, what needs to be said, how it needs to be said, and when it needs to be said. We teach you and role play and train with you exactly how to do an interview, exactly how to do the presentation, exactly how to solve problems, how to actually be a closer, how to change more lives, how to completely change your world and their world. And it all starts with this QR code. Listen, some of y'all are going to do it. Some of you aren't. The ones that won't, I get it. I totally understand. I was there. Okay. But the minute I started asking people who had done it before to help me do it is when my entire life changed. And that's what I'm asking for you. That's what I'm hoping for you here. And look, do the QR code, get yourself signed up. And if you want to think about it, if you want to talk about it a little bit, text me. All right. I'll give you my cell number. Ready? It's 208-720-5326. But I need you to hear me really loud and clear. It's moving season. Right now is the time to change everything. Right now is your opportunity to change the outcomes. No longer worry about interest rates. No longer worry about who's president. No longer worry about fill in the blank. Become recession proof, become economy proof, become political proof, and get out and have a different impact. We want to make 2025 the best year you've ever seen as a leader. We want you to have more impact on more people than you've ever had as a leader. We want you to thrive in 25, not survive in 25. Those days are behind us. That's why we did this whole thing. We literally given it away, but it's going to cost you. But I just told you how to make $500,000 in 1 year as a result of 6 weeks of this class. This class is $3,500 for those of you that are on that QR code. If I told you that I would give you $500,000, but you had to give me $3,500, you would literally go out, beg, borrow, and steal from everybody that you could to find as many $3,500 as you possibly could, because you would want that return on investment over and over and over and over again. And yet I just showed you the data don't lie. There it is. On average, 2.9 people per month attracted to your organization. You just got to scan that. Here's another one for you. The Lethal Book of Scripts. This is a book that we wrote that will help you with your heart set, mindset, and skill set. Know what to say, when to say, and how to say it. You got to practice it. Practice it with you. Practice it with other leaders like you. Practice it with your salespeople so that you're not practicing it on your clients or your prospective clients. But you got to practice it. You got to know what to say. And before you say, well, that's not me, that doesn't sound like me, I get it. I totally understand. I'm not asking you to be like me. What I'm asking you to do, though, is to take what I have put together that works and make it yours. All right. But you got to be a pro. A pro knows the play to run. Do you know the play that needs to be run. And then last, and I'm going to leave you, and I went way over, but the last thing I'm going to leave you with is, hey, y'all, let's get connected. Okay. I've got my link tree on there that has a bunch of different things. It's always changing. There's some great stuff there that I'm sure that you can take, steal, change the logo on it, give it to your agents, use it for recruiting. It doesn't matter. You are not stealing from me. Okay. I am giving it to you. Like, it's all yours. We are a community that believes that if we can help change your life and prepare you to change other lives, then we have answered our calling, which is to change lives. There's my YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube. Actually, that's the ask. Would you please scan that right now and subscribe to our YouTube, because we are actively trying to grow our YouTube channel. And then, of course, there's Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, but please connect with us on Instagram. I just want to thank you so much for being here. I know I'm going to stay here. I know I promised you guys Q&A time. For any of you that have to go, I totally get it. We'll send you the recording, but I'm going to stick around here. But I just want to thank each and every one of you for honoring us with spending some time with us. I know you probably got the phone calls and the text messages and the emails and saw the social media ads and everything and thought, what the heck is this all about? How is this person who's built a top 2% company going to spend his time helping us to recruit agents? Like, where does that doesn't make any sense. I get that it doesn't make any sense. I get that there's a lot of people out there that don't have the authority, that are bartering on their influence. But we have the authority because we can prove that we've actually done it. And we're banking on the fact that together we can all build influence together, and we can change an industry, and that we can save some business lives. You know what I'm saying? We can change some business lives. So thank you. I really appreciate it. That was my cell number. So by all means, if you need to get a hold of me, please do not hesitate to reach out. I want to connect with you. I want to help you. All right. All right. Let's go to questions. Do you have anything?
Currently nothing in the chat.
Nothing. No
Nothing.
questions.
You blew their minds.
Please.
Brittany needed the first slide of the onboarding piece.
Brittany, I will get you the OG. Okay. So stand by. Hey, for my Mexico friends, hey, great to see you guys here. Tell Philip I said hello. I hope that we can all get connected soon. Fantastic. We will be in Costa Mujeres in 2 weeks. So whoever is in or around that market and would like to get together and hang out in person, hit me up, would you please? I'm also I'm on WhatsApp as well. So if that makes it easier for you, look me up there. But would love to see you all.
Brian had a question for you down on the bottom if you scroll through that.
You know, so the mediocrity versus great. I believe, you know, it's sort of that 212 degrees video, I think, is on YouTube, that talks about the power of 1 degree. You know, greatness happens when you actually do what you say you're going to do, right? That is the first thing that people don't do. They say they're going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then they don't. They hit the snooze bar, right? They say they're going to make 5 phone calls, but they don't. They make 5 some days, but they don't make 5 all days. That, to me, that is the first step to being great. Mediocrity, it doesn't do that. There's another piece to it. There's this passion that's around people that do great things, that says, I appreciate that you don't think that I can do what I'm about to do, but hold my beer, right? Nobody will ever get in the way. You hear stories time and time again about a mother who lifted a car off of her baby, right? Like, the power that is within us to do things when the stakes matter. The problem is when the stakes don't matter enough, or we haven't connected them. See, if you looked at it and said, hey, you know what, making or not making the phone calls will actually determine whether or not I actually get to send my kid to the college that I promised her that I would send her to. See, it's a different conversation than, I don't feel like making the phone call. We miss the connection. So I would start with, be a man of your word, be a woman of your word. When you say you're going to do something or not do something, don't do it. If you say you are, you know, like it's the nutrition deal. Hey, I have an idea. How about let's not eat sugar for a week? I love that one, right? One of the hardest ones on the planet. Don't eat sugar for a week. Well, then just don't eat it, right? Just don't eat it. I'm gonna get up at 5 o'clock every morning. Great. Awesome. Then just do it. But kick your own ass if you don't do it. Yes, sir. The 4 foundations, baby: faith, family, fitness, and finance. In that order. It is something that a lot of businesses don't talk about, which I think is sad. We do. We get some shade for, but we also we get a lot of love for it. What I would tell you is that the more aligned you stand up for what you stand for, the greater the impact you're going to have, because it connects, right? Like, nobody's going to get in the way of me saying I love God. You cannot love God. It's totally fine. But we weren't talking about you. We were talking about me. Right? Nobody's going to get in the way of me saying that my family is most important, because they're my family. See, it's my wife, it's my kids. I have a job to protect and provide for them. Period. End of story. Like, you're not getting in the way. I would go clean toilets if it meant putting a roof over my family's head. I go to the gym. I do it for a number of reasons, but one of them is for my family, because I want to make sure I'm strong enough to protect my family. But I also want to be around for my family. I want to have the right head. I want to have the right heart. I want to have the right emotional state. I'm teaching my children who to be when they grow up, because I am the one that has the greatest influence on them. When we ask our children, like, who do you want to grow up? Who do you want to be when you grow up? I want it to be me. See, I don't want it to be some sports figure or some comedian or actor. Like, I don't want that. I want it to be me. And then, of course, finance is legacy for me. Like, at this point, we're saying, hey, how do we make it so that my kids have an opportunity to do something that I wasn't able to do? How do I make sure that my kids never struggle the way I struggled, but we also instill in them the passion and drive to win and have an impact on other people, not just them. Well, I think that must mean that we did such a great job that we answered all of the questions in advance, which is a sign of a great presentation, answering questions before they become objections. So hopefully that's great. But we're going to go with it. Y'all, I hope to see you at the masterclass. If you've got questions about the masterclass, again, please do not hesitate to reach out. But here's what I know. Life is about returns on investment. If you invest 0, you get 0. It's that easy. If you invest $1, my hope is that you get $10 back. I just showed you a way to get, what was that, Jeff?
500.
$500 back. I've asked you to give me $1 and I'll give you $500 back. That's all. So please get after it. Okay. I'll see you there. If I don't see you there, I'll see you on Facebook. I'll see you on Instagram. I'll see you on YouTube. Get into our community. Just come and hang out. Like, even if you don't go to the masterclass, I want to invite you into our community. Hang out with us. Spend some time with us. I'll invite you to our inner circles. We do 4 a month. Two of them are very agent sales specific. 2 of them are very leader specific. Easy for me to say, but we want you to be in the area. We want you to feel what it feels like to be around other people just like you, because sometimes we get into these spaces where we're like, man, nobody understands me. I understand you. Nobody gets the struggles. No, I get it. I've been there. I know exactly where you're going through. I got this challenge. I don't know how to get myself out of it. I do. If I don't know, I'll introduce you to somebody that does. But I want you to have that kind of an experience, and I want you to have that kind of an impact, because you are somebody special. You're somebody special to the agents that work for you. You're somebody special to the agents that don't yet work for you. You're somebody special to the people at your house. You're somebody special to the person who gave you the job in the first place. You are somebody special. It's time to be around other special somebodies, and let's go do something big. Okay. Love you guys. Peace out.